Yes.
Yeah, thank you. So, good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us. Over the who have been a part of the Cyberhawk team or wildlife crime control in any way, we already know that everything from live birds to wildlife derivatives like hathjodi, mongoose hairbrushes, even ivory, for that matter, they are in illegal wildlife trade, and it has gained more momentum across online platforms lately, like in the last 2 3 years, if I am not wrong. Criminals have actually gone techie. So, and social media, if you search for it, is full of these products. But to counter these techie criminals, we also have to catch up to their ways. And this is, I think, that the Cyberhawk platform is one of those tools that allows us as citizen science volunteers or enabled citizens to report these offenses and allow enforcement agencies to catch offenders and stop the crime. So, over the last two webinars, which Monish was also a part of, we had discussed on how these platforms have allowed enforcement agencies identify and track wildlife offenders, especially illegal wildlife traders. And second webinar, we had a hands-on demonstration on how the app functions, which I believe many of you attended. Uh, okay. The information that the Cyberhawk volunteers have provided over the past few years or a few months have resulted in really important seizures and operations of species, including even the Bengal tiger or the Asian elephant. Users have also reported on hunting and poaching instances of a variety of wildlife species. So please be aware that this webinar would be recorded, and you can put your queries in the chat box and we will try to address each of them at the end of the session. And on that note, let me welcome and introduce Monish Singh Tomar, who leads the Cyberhawk team at Wildlife Trust of India. Welcome, Monish,
Thank you,
once
Madhumay,
again.
for a warm welcome.
Yeah. So, Monish, can you quickly brief us about the Cyberhawk app? Because I believe there would be few participants for whom this would be the first time for knowing about Cyberhawk.
Sure, Madhumay. I think there's many previously there, but still because we are catching up. Let me
Hmm.
share my screen. I hope it's visible clearly.
It is. It is. Yeah.
Yeah. So Madhumay, as you said, we can go through a brief what we have learned in the last two
Hmm.
webinars. So basically, as you also mentioned, initial was a giving scenario of what happening in illegal wildlife trade in cyberspace. Basically, this emerging field, and in the last 5 years, it has gone drastically higher because, as you know, that COVID also hits and people has nowhere to go, so they were always dependent on the internet, and they had a lot of time to use on the internet, right? So
Hmm.
slowly they also developed a new generation which are coming, which are very techy. So when they are getting encountered with such kind of crime, so they are coming up with the new ideas to put up in the where they are sell and their products in the websites and social medias. They're creating new websites. So those are really problematic because, as you know, many enforcement agency they are tied up with a lot of already they have many cases on ground, and they are overloaded with a lot of administrative works and other works. So sending them one information in one line and waiting from them to act, it was not like feasible. So, and also there was a
Hmm.
confusion before also where to report such online crimes because as you see, like in the Wildlife Protection Act for the online uh, crime in terms of wildlife, there's nothing especially mentioned. But it's a similar act of trade and hunting which is prohibited under the act. But reporting was a bit problematic. So slowly growing on, many enforcement agencies, Wildlife Trust of India, and other NGOs have taken up this challenge to combat your cyber wildlife trade. And now, if you see that Environment Ministry also has a helpline number there, you can call and report such crimes. but there's still the problem of how many load they can take, how many load agency can take of crime. Because if you surface any like social media accounts, if you start searching properly, you'll find tons and tons of loads and loads of information. And so
Yeah.
it's not about the similar species, about a different species, a different way of posting, and you may not be aware about some species as well. So that was becoming problem. So we have, like, in 2020 we come up with the idea that okay, let's create a one platform, the citizen science initiatives, where people have a handy application where they can report such incidents. So the problem why we came up with such idea, because online was a wide, it was providing a wider reach to people. Like, we have a wider reach in an enforcement agency, they are connected to larger network of the enforcement agency all over the world through internet. Similarly, the traffickers also has wider reach through social media, Facebook, connecting to uh, different countries and the thousands and thousands of people. And also it was providing them anonymity. Like, you don't have to, like in other like government schemes, you have to put your Aadhaar card, right, to get those schemes benefit and verify yourself. But if you're making any Facebook account or Insta account, you don't have to put your Aadhaar card or biometrics to verify that
Mm.
you are the person who's using the account. And if those things come up in the future, that will be really helpful. But also it's a matters of confidentiality of the person. So these platforms provide a lot of secrecy to the users. They can use fake profiles, they can use fake identities. So it was easy for them to do all this illegal business. And also slowly, when we grew up in our digital world, now if you see all those WhatsApp, Facebook, and other messenger apps, and all the social media apps are coming up with a encryption sort of security. So where it will not be accessible to other agencies or anybody if they want to do any investigation sort of thing also. So ease of transaction is also there. Now you can, as you know, through WhatsApp also you can pay money directly. You don't have to open a Google app also. And a lot of other applications are coming which can directly pay money to the people without leaving a digital trace sometimes. So there's a multiple ways, digital ways are coming up. It's growing era, and a lot of new things are coming up every day. The problem is we are far behind than the people who's doing the crime, because they are creating this kind of ideas, they are coming up with the new ways to do the trade. So they're far ahead of us, and safety security they are getting also, because it's a fake ID, low risk of detection, and not many of agencies are monitoring these online platforms regularly. So regular monitoring is not there, so detection level is very less. And also because of the lack of information in social medias, or fake information in social media, misleading information as there, that is ultimately is not providing us good results. And it's wider variety reach is also there for the species. Anybody from sitting in US or UK, they can contact to Southeastern countries, India's. So it's providing very access. So how to combat this was our major problem. So as I said, 2020 we come up with the idea, okay, give a citizen only a tool. Why we are regularly monitoring, because a person and an agency has also limitations. So we can't reach out to all those smaller applications which are coming, like suppose TikTok came in between, and then some Mojo app and those applications are coming in between. So those smaller applications which rural areas people they are using, and the wider other variety of people are using, like Snapchat also, and some other messenger apps, new applications are coming. We have limitations to monitor regularly on those sites. So we thought, okay, let's give some tool to citizen only. So if whatever they are surfacing, if they are finding any illegal activity related to wildlife, they can report. So we came up with the idea of Cyberhawk, as we discussed this before in detail in previous our webinar. So I will not give you proper details here, but it's a easy, handy applications which is available in Google Play Store. You can download, and when you go through it, you will find very easy. You can report a crime. You can log into it, become a part of Cyber Spotter network, and if you want to do continuous monitoring and report crime, that would be really helpful for us, and you'll be contributing to the larger goal of the wildlife conservation. So here, as you can see, there's a report crime tab is available, and you can also report online crimes, on-ground crimes, and we have divided in multiple sectors like hunting, poaching incidents, wildlife trade, pet trade incidents, illegal wildlife product trade. So all this we have put it up thought, okay, what kind of incidents we come across generally in online and on ground. So this refined version information which we received that actually help us to develop the case. And so there's other multiple information is required, which really helpful for us to get the insight of the crime, which reported by the users. As you can see, the source are there, the species name are there, if there's any suspect are there. So by entering all those details, then you can report it a crime, and you can see your report status also in CyberHawk. And also, if you don't want to report, there are multiple other tabs are available. We are upgrading CyberHawk application regularly, and we are putting up new things also. So please download it, keep updated about the application, and if you use it, you'll find many other activities also there. You can do like identification guides are there. You can see about the species, wildlife protection act is there. You can go through the act and find out what are species are there which is protected. So multiple options are there, which you can see clearly in the CyberHawk app. So, but this multiple time what we are facing was people are hesitating to report crime. So we have included also anonymous version of this. So you can, if you want to report a crime, you can just use the tab of anonymity, and you can then your report is come as a guest. So we can't get through your user ID. You can't see your name, and
Mm.
no personal detail, no profile detail related to you. You will come as a report. So I'll show you later on in this webinar. So what how we can get those kind of reports, right? So it's easy. And I like request all those cyber spotter. The purpose of this webinar basically to strengthen their skills to monitor and refine the reports which are coming up. So all those kind of reports you can see the Indrajal and all, if you can easily find in the Facebook, so it's better you upload it in the CyberHawk so it keep us the record. So this was the platform, Madhuman, which we have created. So as I was just about, I was giving a brief. I was not like going in detail of this
Mm.
application because we already discussed. So I request all those who's participating in this webinar, please go
Yeah,
and
I think we will put
yeah,
the link to the app on the
sure,
chat
sure.
box soon
Yes,
also.
yeah,
One interesting thing you also mentioned is how so many social platforms are coming up. I think
yes,
even Instagram and Facebook, they are now working as search engines like Google
yeah,
was.
yeah,
So it's a hotbed for everything. You can search literally everything, and it
yeah,
also applies to wildlife crime and wildlife products.
yeah,
But for this webinar, I think you mentioned an overview, but I see a lot of data that is being crunched. Like you need a
yes,
lot of data to make this work.
yeah,
So while we continue to do the good deed, today's session is actually to understand how this open source intelligence and monitoring system works, and how using technology we are trying to take the fight to wildlife crime.
yeah,
It would be about understanding how a variety of data and data sets are monitored using platforms like CyberHawk, and the key to all of it is data. Monish, uh,
yeah.
can you explain further on how important data plays a role here, and what are the kind of data you are trying to get, and how do you process or translate this into action on the field?
Okay, thank you, Madhumer. Yeah, sure. Let me ask one thing before going forward with your question. If you're
Hmm.
booking a Uber ride
Hmm.
and you're just getting a Uber PIN, not the vehicle number, can you take that ride?
No,
Definitely not. If you're
I would
getting
be
this,
scared, like little doubtful. Yeah.
yeah, so if you're getting this the number, there's no PIN, the Uber driver can't take the ride, right?
Yeah.
So those key information in like certainly I'm giving the example of Uber because I was reading an article recently on the
Mm,
Uber that sometimes why people are hesitant to take this like Uber rides and other rides. So sometimes the profile pictures are not matching to the actual driver, right? So
yeah.
all those key information gives you a kind of security also to go and take that ride. So similarly here, if we are getting all those kind of information, it becomes easy for us to
Mm,
like develop it further. And as I mentioned in earlier webinar, Wildlife Trust of India assist enforcement agencies in combating
mm,
illegal wildlife trade. So we are not directly going and engaging. We are
mm,
filtering the data which we are receiving, and we are analyzing the data, and we are giving the key information which we call actionable information to the enforcement agency so they can take a appropriate action. So as I mentioned, like if you give just one data, okay, this is the suspect name from Noida Sector 8, and he's doing a wildlife trade. If this information, if I'll pass to enforcement agency, they will not take that information as a priority, right?
yeah.
So our purpose to gather all those information is to provide a like weightage to your information. And as we have the 4 by 4 grid system of verification in CyberHawk, we value those your info report as per those 4 by 4 grid. And then we can see, okay, your it's a priority work is required there, or it can wait certain time. And if it's a lack of information is there, so even if your report is a very strong, you know that person is hardcore involved in the illegal wildlife trade. But when you're reporting where you're not giving much of the details which is required,
Mm,
right? So we'll not be able to further develop that case. So similarly, as also you said, like, oh, this webinar is for OSINT. So here we are like generally saying whenever you're reporting something, use some basic OSINT tool. OSINT is like open source intelligence tools, right? So open source, whatever available in like Google or openly server, when you search whatever getting like if I'll search Madhumay Malik in Google. So whatever information I'm getting, that's the open source information. If I'm putting
mm,
Madhumay Malik's picture in Google Lenses, based on that, whatever similar profiles I'm getting, whatever similar information I'm getting based on Madhumay Malik, that it's kind of open source intelligence tools, right? So
mm,
same thing. We don't have to go in by depth with the cyber spotters here because we don't want them to engage in any kind of talks with the suppliers who's putting posts, talk with the suspects or any criminal network because it may harm directly to them as well. So
mm,
here we
yeah.
want that they using those simple like keywords, simple search, simple like few tools, they can gather more information rather than that like just if you're encountering one Insta post, you just take a screenshot and put it into the report in the CyberHawk. And what we are receiving is just a Instagram post, nothing else. If there is no
Mm,
further information, so it will take another like more of our endless time to check that, right? To like decrease
yeah.
that, it's basically what key information we require to process those reports and develop it further is your profile, images, locations, right? And
Yeah.
in like whenever you get in the Facebook, nowadays, like before it was not there when I started using Facebook, like you can't lock your profile. It was for public, right? So
Yeah.
nowadays you can lock your profile. So until unless you are a friend with that person, you'll not be able to access to whole of the person profile. And also you're getting like you can limit what number of information you want to show publicly, right? So those criterias are coming up, those security features are coming up, but still many profiles are open. Many like Instagram profiles are open. They publicly posting, especially for the business profile. If you see, they are largely open. So all those like superstition beliefs, suppliers, sellers, and
Mm,
users, they are putting it openly in the your social media, and they're also e-commercial website is largely open. So whatever information you can gather from there using a simple searches, using a simple scroll and the common sense basically. So that key information is very valuable for us to further it easily, develop it very easily, and we don't have to look for the same similar kind of information, right? So we need profiles, images, locations, and we'll talk about ethical consideration later. So what we talk about profile, what we are saying profile. So if one of our cyber spotter is scrolling through your Instagram and he dedicatedly wanted to search any crime in that. So basically, the first thing he has to understand that regional languages, because if a person from rural area of Odisha, he will not post any of his post in the English language, right? He will largely use the Odia language, local language, and the local terminologies. So those the cyber spotter has to understand those local terminologies, local names, and how the people write there, the hashtags they use. So similarly, I can give example like when we're doing the monitoring of bear dancing, which is coming up, emerging again in India, which was stopped a long back. So we use those all local terminologies like Bhalu Nach in Hindi, Bhalu Ka Khel, hashtag fun, Bhalu, all those creativity, what you can see that people can put. And also for that, you have to do the a bit background search of that people that area, how people are putting up the post. So based on that, when if you're searching, if you're getting any profile means a trace of suspect, contact information, or any relevant information related to the post if you're getting. Like if a person posted a starter toys in Instagram, it's a user name is Star India, right? So we are not getting any suspect details in that. We are just getting some Star India profile has posted Star Tortoise video online for sale. So what we need actually, so go open that profile. If it's an open profile, you can go, you check if there is any comments, any like scroll down to that photos, more photos if the person photo is there with the start tortoise, right? And your username is there, maybe in the comments some usernames are there, and then phone numbers are there. So if you feel that okay, that person has said to buy, contact me in this number, to buy, please contact XYZ person. So
Mm.
that creates a profile. And if you're getting a picture of that person with the starter toys or a picture of that person in the profile, that will give you as a suspect profile to us. So when you're putting suspect details in the Cyberhawk, it becomes easy. You can put the name, you can put the numbers, you can put the email IDs. So those things are required. And another main tasking is if you're putting all those information, the profile, the bio of the suspect, like I said, the key things is required is name, your pictures, if it has contact number, and the email IDs. And if there's a multiple contact number, you can put multiple contact number in the Cyberhawk in the in the suspect tab, right? And then yeah, as I was saying, there's starter toys online or a low price. So if you're getting such kind of thing, so you can just go and check other videos, other profiles, and most of the time, Madhumay, how we getting information uh, that we are scrolling them. There are other videos, and you found some background. There's some
Mm.
tent or there's some shop. There's some banner which is written location or the people name or the area name. So all those things we get very
Or
easily.
maybe some vehicle number or something.
Yeah, exactly that. I was coming
Yeah.
to that point. So yeah, vehicle numbers that like
Yeah.
recently we have got one Insta profile and the face of the suspect is there, everything is there, but the finding location is important, right? So to that we have actually taken the number plate of the person vehicle, which are open source data. We haven't violated any privacy. We just went to the profile of that person and we found there is a
Mm.
vehicle number is there. So we easily can check and we can give that number to the enforcement agency that this profile has done this is crime incidence is there, and you can check that person whereabouts through this vehicle number. Right, so it becomes easy for them to further proceed with the case. And also
Yeah.
important things is images, what actually you're finding. If I am putting, uh, I'm about to search about parakeets. So what kind of parakeets you're finding? Like many people don't know about the name of the parakeets here we found. they generalize say parrot, but what kind of
Mm.
parrots are there? If it's a protected, not protected, and also there's multiple wildlife contrabands coming like tiger nail, tiger pendants, and all. So that is original, not original. So it's if you by looking, if you're saying that it's a fake, really, it's a tiger skin is not real, then reporting that crime might not be helpful, right? But still, we consider okay, you at least report those crime as these people are advertising certain things. So
Mm.
and also have the shocking thing which is coming up and which will create a really big problem for monitoring is those AI generated videos. If you have encountered those videos that's new
Yeah, they
coming
are
up.
taking over internet nowadays.
Yeah, it's rolling through the internet. There's a recent that tiger attack video which came later on that they have
Mm. Yeah.
declared this AI process, and now we are finding out we are monitoring two, three people who are generating like very realistic animal video through AI,
Mm.
and if you see that video in one glance, or maybe a non-conservation background people, if they see it
Mm.
in one glance, they see okay that person is keeping lion or that person is keeping tiger in the house
Yeah.
as a pet, right? So those AI generated videos soon it will create a lot of issues in
Mm.
monitoring because it looks very realistic, and it's not only uh, they're creating this AI videos to generate their profile, building profiles number and all, right? And then there's a user followers numbers, but also it's advertising and it's luring more people, like the
Mm.
person who don't know about wildlife and but he has a good amount of money, but he don't know about wildlife protection act. If he's seeing such AI images that person has keeping a tiger, and then he'll be like okay, I why I can't keep a tiger, why I can't keep certain snakes in my house as a pet. So it's also developing demands, increasing demands in the market. So these are very like becoming horrifying for the people to use such kind of AI images and increasing demand. And if you see, it's not only about the illegal wildlife trade through these profiles now, because influencer, all this Insta influencer, all those people are now kind of staff, employed person. There's a creative employment, you can say.
Yeah.
So through the user numbers, they are getting money. They're generating money also, right? So using certain these videos, if you see many illegal trade videos, we have seen that millions and millions of views. So because of those illegal activity, which are the either they are it's from AI based or non-AI based, they are generating money from that. So if you can consider that money is not a legal money because it has generated through giving misleading information and also advertising illegal wildlife products. So
Mm.
that's becoming a problem. So images, you can the cyber spotter what we want from them. So if they are encountering such post, they can take a screenshot of suspect's illegal activity, like what the post they made. Not only one, but multiple. When you scroll down, if you're finding that person is not only involved with a one species like star tortoise, but also has a parakeets, also has snakes in the post, then you can check. And to identify very basic thing, if you're not sure what kind of species is this, use Google Lenses. It's widely used open source tool. You use Google Lens. Most of the time, you will get a correct information if it's a live species. You can use your iNaturalist, eBird, reverse image searches. Also, you can use to at least identify which species is that. Right, what conservation status of that species holds, and also there's
Mm.
a many so identification guides are also available, so they can use those guides. So in the cyberhawk also we are putting up identification guides, so they can check those and they can find out which species is that. So if it's not like related to native species and it's not here in India and it's not all
Mm.
protected in CITES or Wildlife Protection Act, so it will be difficult for agencies to take up that case, right? So
Yeah.
as here clearly said, like sold Hathajodi.
Mm.
Here in those images, you can see monitor lizard, which is scheduled one with the dogs. So all those images and all, which we can, they can take a screenshot and they can send. Then another important requirement is location. So as I
Mm,
said, if you check the profiles, you can find out those locations. Some people mention their location. Some people mention location in their tags. Some people mention location in
mm,
their captions. So you can find out location. Some people directly write available in this XYZ places. So location is important. As I said, check caption, location, landmarks, and you can use normal if they have written Gandhinagar in this place. You can just use check those places in online. So this will provide you also the cyber spots also an idea. Okay, I have got the profile of the person. I have checked their biodatas of the profile. I have got the images also. Now, when I'm checking the location, is it matching to the profile? Is that locations are like captioned or tagged in his profiles or not? So it gives credibility to your information which you're reporting. So it's not like you are blindly sending any information. So
mm.
locations are important. Like as I said, is here it's written Andhra. So we can
Yeah.
focus our search. We definitely will search in the profile in depth, but we can focus our search in certain place. So this is
You have even
majorly,
mentioned the district, I think.
yeah. So this basically location also requires in your on ground in information
Mm,
on ground crime report if you're sending. If you'll not send a location and if you just send a picture of two people sitting and selling parakeets, where we will search, right? Where we will
yeah.
direct to the enforcement agencies, right? So that's become a problem. So every enforcement agency also has their regional and zonal offices. So it will be better if we know that this XYZ location is of crime, of the suspect. So we can directly target those areas, enforcement agencies to take the case up. And
I
yep.
think here one thing I would like to add also, like or highlight. I think this is where the volunteers are at advantage. Like being
Yeah.
local, maybe you understand the dialect or the locations. You have better idea about the location, so that could be put in the form or whatever thing you're submitting.
Yeah, so that's a Madhumay, in the Cyberhawk you find a description
Mm,
page, right? So I'll show you two cases going further with the webinar. Uh,
mm,
CyberSpotter just write one small text in that description
mm,
tab. That description tab is basically given to give as much as additional information. If you have, you provide in that tab, you can write anything in there, right, related to the case. Because in the data which you are feeding, we are asking for the key information which is required, but that description tab is to give additional information. If you have, like, if the location there, that landmark there, and that person involvement, if you know that person is involved in the larger trade, and if you have other whereabouts known, so all those information can go in that description tab. So that is really required. So just give me like I'll give you one small example of how you can check the with the basic OSINT monitoring. OSINT monitoring is basically uh, open source, whatever information you can use. And if you go to
yeah.
the freely available open source intelligence tools, there are multiple, like as we have discussed, like Google reverse, those tools.
Mm,
Now, scraping tools are also available. If you can put up a keywords, then you just search, and then related to that keywords, you can get all those profiles, all those posts which are listed. So similarly, we don't want a cyber spotter to go in that level, because as they are not doing the continuous hardcore monitoring for us, because it's a volunteer network, we want them to report, and at least report with the credible information, not just report one screenshot. So this is the basic thing which we want is to, if you're getting any post, look for the profile first to see is it a valid crime or not, if it's a protected species under CITES or Wildlife Protection Act or not, right? So that first you see what kind of crime, what kind of species is involved, and then you can go to the person's profile if it's open, and then you can see more. You can take out a
mm,
suspect images, right? And
yeah.
then take screenshot. You can go further, and if you have used Facebook, definitely you can go check locations details. And in the Facebook
Yeah.
also, you can find multiple things like where we have the person is based, where the person is living, where the person was before in their tags. If the information is
Mm,
available, he has shared that information. Even through that, you can because now Meta has linked your Instagram, WhatsApp, Facebook, all this connectivity is there between the your profiles, right, in the social media. So from one profile, you can actually find out all those linked profile as well. So you can check if that person has a YouTube account, if that person has an Insta account, if that person has a Facebook account,
mm,
and what activity he's largely doing in those. So if you're finding those, you can take a screenshot and you can add those also in the report. So it will give us a wider information and the credibility to your information to dig deeper, right? So it's easy. You just have to scroll. You just have to take a bit of work there, right?
yeah.
And yes, so there's all the information which we required. Uh, so any questions here till Madhumay? Anything?
No. Yeah. I think there are a few questions, but we can take them up later.
Okay.
But you are talking about a lot of data that is being
Yeah.
crunched by you guys here. So
Yes.
when it involves data, I think there is a lot of personal and even legal implications at some point of time, right?
Sure.
So how much should the volunteers or the reporters do limit themselves to when digging for information? Because digging too much into personal information will have legal implications in some manner. So, what are the ethical and legal implications of such data sourcing and reporting?
Yeah, definitely. We were just like about to talk in the next slide
Huh.
about the ethical consideration. Whatever is available in an open source, you can take
Mm,
that information, but also you have to like see the limitations of what things you can cover, right? And what the
mm,
intentions here. So when you're doing crime monitoring, you can say crime monitoring. So always the intention matters. That's it. Same as other civil crimes as well. So always they find out the intention. So just the first thing you have to use publicly available data. You should not hack into some systems or
mm,
some person's account to get more details. So it's basically largely if the profile is open, you get a more and more data. If it's easily available, if it's a lock, then you should not engage. If any suspect's profile is logged and you have to gather more information, you have to send the request and then become a friend and then gather more details. So I suggest that Cybers to Cyber Spotter to go in that level because then you're engaging with the potential
right, right.
suspects, right?
Yeah, I
So
was just about to ask what if you start a conversation on
yeah,
DMs? Yeah.
yes. So ensure that it's not only suspects' personal data is there, but your
Mm,
personal data also. It's encrypted data, right? So in
yeah.
WhatsApp also, if you're engaging by chance, if you have a curiosity, if you're engaging with a suspect, then make sure you're using the safer platforms and the like limited visibility times and all, and you're taking out all those in screenshot for making yourself like free from this, like considering ethical practices. And when most of the cases, what we found largely with the uh, enthusiast people, they want to get
Mm,
proper information, so they go beyond and unknowingly they generate demand. Like a person is wanted to report something very desperately and want to do something, but unknowingly he generated demand by asking a suspect. He know that suspect deals in a trade, but he generated demand by asking, okay, I need 50 starter toys. So that's just you don't know that cyber spotter is not aware. That person is not aware. Okay, he has the potential of dealing with the 50 star tortoise or not, or he has the 50 star tortoise or not. But still,
right.
when he's asking for 50 starter toys, it generally is putting up a demand. So when you're
Mm.
putting up that wording, that demand, if you're
Mm.
putting up, so you are not actually doing conservation. You
Mm.
are becoming a part of the crime because that person, the suspect, may not have 50 starter toys because of you have asked. He may go and he may contact the poachers. They can uh, harvest wildlife from the
Or collected from the wild or
collected, yeah,
something.
from the wild. So those in largely in investigation, that's why we request cyber spotters to don't engage with the people because all this communication, the way of communications that considers that shows intent. So one miscommunication from spotter side can lead that spotter in the problem in the court of law, right? So that safety for the information is required, and also the, as I said, legitimate intent.
Mm.
What is your purpose and how much you want to information you want to collect and for what purposes? You should not use person's personal information to take revenge or like if you have grudge to take out that grudge.
Mm.
Right, so avoid those personal games and curiosity. So, for the clarity, we don't provide any incentives to any cyber spotters because it's a volunteer network. So, we're not asking them that if you report 10 reports and those credible reports are leading to successful operations, so you'll get X, Y, Z amount of money. So there is no personal gains. So make sure also they have to make sure that through this information, if you're providing, that should not make it as a personal gain or kind of earning source, right? It's largely for conservation, and it's coming from like your will that you want to combat illegal wildlife trade, you want to save wildlife. It should be in that criteria, not going beyond like
Mm.
through information sharing, I can earn money, right?
Yeah.
And also only better to observe and collect information and share that information. The same
Mm.
purpose we have created Cyberhawk for our cyber spotters so they can collect information and through like whatever they have now understand through this webinar, like they can further collect more information, which is key information required, and they can share those information via Cyberhawk. Most of the cyber spotters are directly sending information to us, to the concerned our people. But we request them, okay,
Mm.
put it in the Cyberhawk because whatever your information you're sending, it's not only reported, but it's also if it's not valid, it's getting stored. So in the future, longer term, your maybe your half information, like less credible information, maybe it becomes credible information in the future. So engaging and interacting with the suspect is a it's complete no-no until and unless you have proper trainings or knowledge of the agencies. So whatever
Mm.
development we do here, we inform enforcement agency. We have a directly collaboration with the Wildlife Crime Control Bureau. We have our people are connected with their officials, so we pass information to them. So they know what kind of ethical consideration we follow. We follow all these requirements which are there, and we don't cross the boundary, which can raise concern about raising demand, right? So that is coming also in the problematic in court of law because if you are raising demand and then a suspect going in the court and saying, okay, this XYZ person has asked me, that's why I did this crime, right? So there you become an agent proctor. So you should not become agent proctor in any case, otherwise it will backfire you only, right? So these are the ethical consideration. I hope you understand, Madhumay, why this is very important.
Yeah. Money should never be a factor because when money
Yeah,
comes in, there's always a inclination towards misinforming,
true,
and that is
true.
also a major issue. And one other thing I think it's important key no information is like you can work on all kinds of information even it's if it doesn't work out today, maybe
True.
2 years down the line it would come to something workable.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that the CyberHawk, this app, has been operational for quite a number of years now.
Yes, yes.
Can you give us some examples of the kind of seizures or kind of animals that have been dealt with, the kind of seizures that have been made, uh, how the kind of criminals or the kind of trade that were approached through these platforms, through the information gathered from the cyber spotters?
Sure. So, Manu, ma'am, thank you for this question. I was also about to say this, in such kind of webinars, we
Mm,
may not get like multiple people, like 100 or 200 people. It's even the limited number of people we are getting. So
mm,
still we are increasing our incidents reports in the CyberHawk. So from the last webinar which we conducted, we have got like several reports, and few reports has led to a successful enforcement operation by enforcement agencies as well. And if I'm not wrong, more than 300 crime has been reported till now, and we have listed more than 200 cyber spotted till date. The only request I have with all the cyber spotters and the new people who are joining us to stay active, to keep reporting such incidents if you're finding out. And if you have certain times, like if you're getting some free time, just search about some animal, and if you find something, because it's AI, all your Instagram, Facebook, also social media, whatever you're using, even nowadays, if I say I want to eat pizza, my phone is listening. I'll within today only within 2 3 hours I'll get some notification of Domino's or Pizza Hut that this offer is there, right? So
yeah.
it is all AI, and now that AI is building up its learning. So the more you search about keywords, the more you use more keywords related to illegal wildlife trade information if you're trying to find. The more similar information AI will provide, the more similar advertisement Instagram or other social media will provide.
Mm,
So through that, many as you are like cases has been sent, like more than from last webinar, more than 12 15 cases were reported, and we have increased the number of cyber spotters as well. So here I can give one example which information we have received. As I was telling you, Madhumam, so this was the report after report when we generate CyberHawk report. It's from the CyberHawk application only, the backend
mm,
channel which analysts deal. So the crime type, online method, the user type, species, and URL, all those important factors we get in the report, right? As you can see here, as a reporter, guest.
mm,
So the person use the anonymity tab in the application. So if the cyber spotter is not wanted to reveal his user ID or identity, he used that tab. So we get this reporter as a guest information only. We can't trace him back, like who has reported. And all this
mm,
information is highly confidential. We follow strict confidential rules with policy within our organization and the people who's working for the CyberHawk application directly or indirectly, right?
yeah.
So this report has sent saying that Bengal monitor lizard and this is URL. This is his
Mm,
URL only is selling such certain like Hatha Jodi and other things. So that no, not further information. So at least that URL has led to us to deep more to the profile and get more information, right?
right.
And that ultimately we have our trained analysts and investigators has developed the case using certain tactics and in ethical consideration level. And as you can see, they have Hatha Jodi, they have confirmed the intention. They have found they are selling Hatha
Mm,
Jodis in certain price and certain numbers, right? And Indrajal. So
yeah.
that developed case, and we shared the information directly to the enforcement agencies. We have shared the credible information, as I said, credible information, and it led to the seizures. So your one information of Hatha Jodi led to the seizure of sea cells, tiger nails, your canine, and chief, and then even the sandalwood, right? So your one small information can lead to a bigger case as well. So, but the information, key information, if you're providing, that is important. If in that
Mm.
report, we just had a information, okay, someone is selling Hatha Jodi, this XYZ, but there's no URL through
Mm.
which we can trace back where it's selling, right? How much potential that person is, how much, any, how many other species it's selling. So we won't get this kind of seizure done with the help of enforcement agencies. So similarly, in another report here, as I can say, reporter information will be there, the our cyber spotter information. So if any information is missing in the report, we can, our the designated analyst can reach out to the cyber spotter personally and can ask if you know more about this incidents. So then we can lead to that gathering further information, right? And in the map
Mm.
also, like I said, the map represent the person here, the cyber spotter has tagged where this crime is actually happening. So he has put it up the cyber Hatha Jodi screenshot. So through that is screenshot also to the URL, we can lead to the uh, page, profile page, and you can find further. And as I said again, the information which we get, we further assess it, filter it, and try to develop it. Because if we just
Mm.
share that information URL to enforcement agency, it will take maybe many days whenever their staff is free to take up that case. Then it will take longer time. So due that time, maybe that a community which he has posted online, a wildlife contraband, which is not available. So most of the cases is a time sensitive in the cyber
Mm.
hawk which we get reported, and most of the cases are time sensitive only. So to make that possible for the enforcement agency to take action, we need to give those like, okay, this is the evidence, okay, person has posted, and person is also, is not only like maybe that person has taken out a video or photo from the online has posted, right? So that person actually is has custody of the wildlife article and he is selling that wildlife article as well. So those credible evidence we need to send to the enforcement agency. So how we have developed that case, and then we share all those information, including the report of the Cyberhawk, which initial report we get with the analyst verifications, and
Mm.
then case it's in front of you. You can see like what different kind of uh wildlife products you can get, and the numbers also you can see here is a smaller number only of Hatha Jodi, but each one Hatha Jodi is basically a hemipenis of a male monitor lizard. So here each one Hatha Jodi, the that small root kind of thing which you are seeing, it's a represent one monitor lizard, which is a schedule one species. Like if you consider as a in terms of Wildlife Protection Act, your tiger and your monitor lizard, both are in the same level, right?
Same level.
Both are in the same
Yeah.
highest level of protection. But if you see as a tiger is a charismatic species and your flagship species, national animal, but monitor lizard, maybe not most of the people as uh, knows knows their ecological benefit. Still, the trade is
Mm.
high. You can see porcupine quills. You can see like he has a wild boar tusk also, and a tiger claws, and other superstition beliefs product which are related to the wildlife. So one information the I would say is that one your small information with all those credible information can lead to a organized crime and can also lead to larger network of people who's involved, and maybe also lead to the main hunters and poachers who are doing on the ground. So it's not like the people who are using the social media platform, they are the only youngster, they are new people who are coming
Mm.
up to sell their products. We have found out that organized gangs also coming up in the online to find out the wider your buyer network. So one of your report can lead to certain cases, and these are the wildlife contraband cases. But through also through cyber spotters reports, we have saved many live animals. So your report can lead to direct conservation impact. So if you're one small, like you're investing your 5 minutes on social media, you're searching through and you're reporting one incident with the credible information. And based on your information, if we are captured, if as a your enforcement agencies are capturing three suspects who are largely involved in the hunting and poaching, and based on your report, if you're capturing those people, we are stopping those trade. We are saving a lot of many other wild animal lives. And if you're saving directly live animals, that you have directly contributed to the wildlife conservation. And sitting in your home just by using your phone and using your time, which most of the people, even I, spend most of the time watching reels. So using those
Yeah,
time,
of
if
course.
you're
Yeah.
monitoring and you're sending that report, it's leading to a larger impact. Yeah. So that's it, Madhumay. I hope you got the
Yeah.
idea about like
That,
we are
that was a
actually working.
huge, yeah, that was a huge diversity of animal products there. And
Yeah.
it all came from Cyberhawk reporters like these
Yes.
volunteers. That's truly commendable and really interesting. So thank you, and congratulations on doing such good work. Thank you so much for the workshop. I think there are a few comments that are there in the chat box that we can take up now.
Sure, Madhumay, we can take a question. Before that, there's a QR code of Cyberhawk application.
Yes,
If you are not finding right application in the Google Play Store, you can just scan it in the window if you're using, there's a
and I
getting
think I
take a
can
screenshot.
also.
Yeah. And there's a link also
I've
in the
also
chat, I
shared
guess.
the app link on the chat box for
Yeah.
people who can
Thank you so
download
much, Madhumay.
directly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Now we
yeah,
can.
Tronoy Kundu. Tronoy Kundu. He is here. Some years ago, I encountered a TV show where one astrologer promoting and selling Seafan coral in the name of Indrajal. Informed that to WCCB, can this information be put on the app in the future?
Sure, sure, definitely. As I said, that in Cyberhawk, we are not only taking the recent cases, right? So, for the good
Mm,
example, when Wildlife Protection Act was not amended, so before that, the CITES was not part of the Wildlife Protection Act, right? So, as I said, that we have launched Cyberhawk in 2020. So that time we were getting a lot of exotic species report. So because that time exotic species was not listed in our protection laws, the enforcement agency has they had no power in domestic lands to do any enforcement operation on those even CITES one species. So which are largely flowing in the social media before 2020, right? Before 2022, when the Wildlife Protection Act got amended. So that time we are getting more exotic, less native. We thought, okay, we should not get such kind of report. But if you see Madhumay, in
mm,
2022, Wildlife Protection Act got amended, and now CITES was in part
yeah.
of the act. So now all those exotic reports which we got in last 2 years, 2020 to 22, now we can go back to those report and see, okay, what all the
Mm,
species were involved, what all the species people were using before the act was not amended, before the powers of enforcement was not there on the exotic species, right? So
mm,
exotic species means all those species which are not native to India, but people get illegally smuggled or legally smuggled in India to keep as a pet. So it's $1 billion industry, and if you like see, it's a more than your what illegal wildlife trade money is involved. It's a bigger than that, like some 1,000 crore uh,
mm,
dollar industry was coming up in India only, right? So those data now we can see. So if you're reporting old cases also, if you're reporting new cases also, at least those data, it gives us a scenario what things are changing in trade, right? Or how the pattern is flowing, which species is coming up again. Like I said, for the
yeah.
dancing bear, we thought there's no more bear dancing on the streets of India. And through social media only, through the reports only, we found out, okay, it's still there. It's still happening in certain parts of the country, in isolated areas. A few people are doing, right? So wildlife trade is not like you have busted one network and then it will stop completely. It
Mm.
keeps coming up, the new species keeps coming up, the older species keep going on, the pattern changes every time. So through those reports, we can actually monitor, analyze what changes is being happening on ground. So if we get more of more old data also, new data also, it will be really helpful for us to take a proper monitoring on this scenario.
It's so much like cancer, like it keeps on recurring, and
Yeah,
you have to have to detect it on the early stage to make it
yeah,
stop, like to minimize the damage. Yeah.
true.
Okay,
True.
Pranay, he has another comment also. Can I know if I encounter any illegal trading related wildlife other than social media? Can that also be reported?
Yeah, that's a good question. Thank you for that. Yes, definitely. Other than the social media, as we said, there is a tab for both in the CyberHawk application. There's the on-ground crime and the online crime. So online covers all over your e-commercial website, whatever available in internet, that covers the online tab. And if you're encountering something in the streets, if you're going somewhere, like recently, I
Hmm.
can give you one example. I met one of like new person in the conference. He attended my talk, and then he after that only he went to Haridwar, and then he found like two people selling parakeets on the street. So immediately he sent me a report. He pinged me that this is happening. So I thought I'll inform
Hmm.
you. And then immediately I shared those information and I requested that person to download Cyberhawk and report it to Cyberhawk. And we can also report that same information through our people also. So we did that and we shared that similar information immediately to the DFO Haridwar. And he acted on that
Hmm.
case. So if you're finding such information like some aquarium shopkeepers, some sellers, they are also doing certain illegal trade, you can definitely put certain details. But as I said, like key information, some evidence being required. If you not able to get those key information, you can write in the description like we know that this person is engaged in the mongoose brush cell, but as it's a highly confidential thing, they are not ready to
Hmm.
show. But we have seen like many mongoose brush he is selling to our XYZ people, right? So those kind of things you can write in description, so we can take. It's a matter of priority only,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So whatever you're reporting, it has to come as a priority because this needs to be done immediately. So then we can take it up definitely from the on ground as well and from online.
Also, in this is an example where physical reporting is being done. So I
Yeah.
think this app also makes it safer. Like I
Yes.
remember when in the early days when we used to see these sellers selling parakeets on the road, there was always a risk of confrontation of people ganging up and beating us up.
Yeah.
So now you can just take a photo and report and let the competent
Yeah.
authorities be involved.
Yeah. That's the best thing. If you don't want us to know that
Yeah,
who has reported, use the anonymity tab, and we will
yeah.
also not knowing that who has reported that crime. So definitely we
Hmm.
can't say, okay, that's XYZ person is on the ground. You can take help from them, right? So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
a big win-win for the people who don't want to directly get
Everyone,
engaged.
and you do the deed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like same thing for the if I can give you example in the road accident cases.
Mm,
People will be there, but nobody wants to get engaged in
yeah.
the crime, right? In that they don't want to become the witness for the accident,
Mm,
but they know
mm,
everything, but they don't want to directly involved. So they understand, okay, if we get directly involved, we have to follow XYZ, we have to go to XYZ
yeah,
people
yeah,
and all.
yeah.
So that's why we have put it that tab in there. So even you are part of Cyber Hawk, Cyber Spotter, you can just put it as a anonymous. It will come as a guest. So nobody will know like who has reported, but at least we are getting that information right on the time.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay, moving on to the next comment. I think it's more of a collaboration that is there. Dev Narayan Mandal is from Mithila, Nepal. So he's asking he didn't find any option to register from Nepal, but he selected Bihar under the state tab to check in the app. Do you have suggestions how we can support from Nepal?
Thank you, brother from Nepal, because definitely we are, as I said, we are upgrading every day the CyberHawk
Mm,
applications. So now we will keep it. I mean, next upgrade will you can find it. You can save it as a cyber spotter from the Nepal. Uh, Sorry if you're not able to do it right now, but definitely in the next upgrade you can find, you can choose it that you're working. And we have a many like two three spotters from Nepal also. They send sometimes information. So if you registered as a Bihar also, please keep sending us information, and in description you can write. And soon we can when we'll upgrade, because we want a wider variety of wider geographical reach, because all the neighboring countries are linked in the organized trade. So we need all those larger geographic area people to connect with us. So we will open that uh, option for you to get more and more people from the Nepal and Bangladesh. Right now, also you can engage, but maybe if you're not finding the location, I think you can use as a Nepal, maybe. As I know that few people has already done it before. Maybe there is a way or different, maybe some restrictions maybe there in the location based, some phone based also restrictions are there sometimes, so you can't
Mm,
find those
mm.
uh, option. So that will be coming in the next date, so you can write in the description in detail, so we
Yeah.
will take it forward. And thanks for
I think
the
Nepal that way
discussion.
is, yeah. Nepal that way is also a very crucial landscape when it comes to trade,
Yes.
wildlife trade. So yeah, all the help that we can get. Okay, one more comment that has come in: how to involve local tribal community against wildlife crime.
It's a good question, thank you, because it's a main key stakeholder. If local
Yeah.
indigenous people are supporting wildlife conservation, then I don't think so wildlife trafficking is possible, because the main
Mm,
wildlife trafficking link works like somebody from outside is sitting creating a demand, and middlemen from the city areas, they are going meeting those indigenous people and tribal people in the villages, and they are generating demand, and then they are going and killing animal and then providing the item, right? So if those people refuse, okay, we will not hunt, and those people restrict outsiders in their area. So anybody XYZ who's generating demand for tiger skin, if there is no person to hunt and there's restrictions to go to their area, you will not get a tiger skin, right? So this to combat wildlife crime, there's only two way. Either you completely reduce the demand, or you strengthen your local field, the protected areas and the ground, strengthen the community so they support in the conservation. So the hunting is becomes very difficult to engage community. There's a many engagement programs has been done, especially for the crime prevention. We are running multiple programs in different landscape. We have PRT network is a primary response team also we call. So they are in the UP and Bihar, and other areas as well, where conflict mitigation projects are there and the crime projects are there. So they give us information, right? So we also strengthen their skills and how they can share those kind of information while keeping their information secret, right? So
mm,
to that, definitely you have to do more and more sensitization program with the local communities. Most of the time, uh, communities are not aware about the legalities. Like if I'll give you example, everybody knows putting fire in the forest is banned. Okay, but nobody knows in under which section or how much penalty it can attract, and how much of term of imprisonment it can attract, right? So those kind of legal information and also ecological information related to wildlife which they are extracting, that needs to be given to the local community, right? Similarly, what we are doing in a Manipur is the same thing, because Manipur is it's if you see it's a transit area, known transit area for organized illegal wildlife trade. Manipur and Nagaland, both area we are working. There we understood that community is a major stakeholder. Without the community, we can't even work there. So we have initiated conversation with the community. We try to make the elders understand, okay, what is the benefit of the species in terms of ecology, not in terms of money, right?
Mm.
So when you compare, when you give them clear idea, if you make them understand, okay, if we are killing that species, we are just getting 2,000 rupees right now. But if you see the ecological benefit which that species is providing indirectly, it's a huge. Similar for the pangolin, which the pangolin project we are running. The pangolin eats termites and ants, millions and millions and termites of ant in the entire the one pangolin's lifespan, maybe more than 70 million they eat, right? So the Manipur's people, their livelihood depends on the forest produce, the timber, the bamboos, and all. So we make them understand if you wiped out this species which are feeding on termites and ants, there's no other species in that landscape
Mm.
which are feeding largely feeding on termites and ant. If you remove this, your ant and termite population will increase, and then you will not get a good yield of crop, good quality of wood. So we are validating this ecological benefit with the elders, and elders are actually feeling it the same way that termite population has increased a lot. Our whatever yield which we're getting that has reduced, the production quality is reducing because there are a lot of ants and termites are there. But they have never thought the gap was there. So if
Mm.
you want to work with the community, you want to engage in the wildlife crime control, you have to fill this knowledge gap. You have to find actually what kind of knowledge gap they have, and you have to act on that. But it varies from different areas, different geography, and different kind of set of local community, local indigenous community. Central India, where I have worked in most of the part of the Chhattisgarh, most of the community are aware that selling pangolin scales is crime, and many of their neighbors and known person has went to jail because of that. Even that, if they are doing it, then there is no knowledge gap because they are aware
Yeah.
about it. They are looking for the easy money. So there you have to take support of the enforcement and create a base source network, which you call like in local informant network, so people can provide information that XYZ people are doing crime. So it's a different in the different landscape with the different community, but the main thing you have to find out the knowledge gap through which you can engage the community for the wildlife conservation. Otherwise, community will ask for return, which
Mm.
largely providing return, the sustenance is not there. When you put incentives and certain things, and long-term sustenance are not there in that kind of initiatives. So it's always better fill their gap, mm, talk so in their language so they can understand what they really want to hear, right? So that way we can engage.
Yeah. I think it's really easy when it comes to the community to link conservation to the ecological benefits. Another interesting insight, same Manipur I had, people were talking like linking the reducing number of pangolins to the reducing groundwater level.
Yeah.
So because pangolins make burrows, and because of reducing number of pangolins, the water table is going down and it's affecting the crops. So yeah, it's easy to link when you talk to them.
Yeah, that's the
So
way we have to understand. Like we have to
uh,
talk to them in their own language so they understand, right? So
yeah,
we have
yeah.
to find out those modus operandi you want to use to
Hmm.
get to their head, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's it. Previous webinar links, I think it is on YouTube. We can share it with you guys later.
Yes.
And
Last
I think if
webinar they
if
can.
someone wants to connect back, I think we can share your email IDs also, like the WCCD ID.
Yeah, yeah,
Which
definitely. Please write to us in WCCD email ID, which one of our colleague can put up in the chat. And
I
please
have.
go previous recordings of the webinars you can find and many
Hmm.
other Cyberhawk related to recordings you can find in Wildlife Trust of India YouTube handles. And you can also see other works which Wildlife Trust of India is doing in the particular species and landscape. So if you go and see them, then you can widely understand the wider conservation scenarios which are happening in India and how Wildlife Trust of India is supporting. So this
Yeah.
webinar is largely to make you like understand about the ways what we the key information we want and how does cyber illegal wildlife trade is emerging. So even from 18, 13, 15 people, even like 3 people are also actively doing monitoring and reporting crime. It will be a like huge help
That's a lot of
for
species saved,
yeah, a
lots
lot
of
of
animals
species
saved.
saved. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it from my side, Madhuma. Anything else? Any
Thank you,
more
Monesh, for
questions?
joining us, and thank you to all the participants for taking out their time. It has been really insightful, and I think you will keep the conversation going through emails or social links. Do write to us. Thank you. Okay,
Thank you so much.
bye.